Welcome Home, a podcast for veterans, about veterans by veterans, is a project of Willing Warriors and the Warrior Retreat at Bull Run.
Good morning. I'm your host, Larry Ziliox, Director of Culinary Services here at the Warrior Retreat at Bull Run. And today we're going to have a conversation with Faith Lillamo, our Administrative and Volunteer Coordinator. And she's going to be telling us all about what it takes to volunteer here at the Warrior Retreat, how many volunteers we need, what do we need them to do, what type of commitment it is, and pretty much just about anything you want to know about volunteering at the Warrior Retreat. Faith's going to be able to tell us. So welcome, Faith.
Thank you, Larry.
Why don't we start off, just give us a little bit of your background and what brought you to the Warrior Retreat at Bull Run.
Well, I was born and raised in Minnesota, but now I live in Haymarket. My family moved from Minnesota to Virginia in 2002, and my 4 kids are raised, and I was looking for a new career, and a friend encouraged me to apply to the retreat. I hadn't even been here before, and I applied, and it all worked out. And I love being here. It's fantastic.
Well, we love having you. And you've been here a year now, right? Wow.
A little over a year.
Wow. Time flies, doesn't it? Wow. So you are, I like to say, Faith is the face of the Warrior Retreat. If you come into the office, you're going to meet Faith right away. And so her desk is right out front there. And then she fields all the calls about volunteering and organizes the volunteers for beautification days and events that we have, and then the day-to-day operations here at the retreat. Tell us a little bit about the different areas of operation that we require volunteers for.
Sure. Well, we have 13 different volunteer areas. We have ambassadors who go out into the community and tell people about the retreat. In order to do that, you have to have spent some time here and have a basic understanding of how we work. But ambassadors are very important. We also have admin and office support volunteers. We have bakers on call who are willing to bake for the warrior families their favorite dessert, so it's ready to go when they arrive, when they get here. We have people that help with fundraising. We have grounds and yard work volunteers. We have gardening volunteers, guest day coordinator volunteers, house prep, maintenance, indoors, as well as outdoor maintenance on the lawnmowers and so on. Mm-hmm. We have photography volunteers, reservations, that's with the guest day services. And we have staging volunteers, which help with laundry and making sure everything's ready to go on Thursdays so that when the warrior family comes on Friday morning, everything looks great. Mm. And we have sous chefs.
Yes, we do have sous chefs. I think we have 9 or 10 sous chefs now that volunteer and support the Visiting Chef Program, which, for those of you who don't know, is a program where on Sunday night in the Lang House and Saturday night in the Penn Fed House, a chef comes and prepares an extraordinary meal for the family. And sometimes the chefs bring sous chefs with them, but very often they just come by themselves. And we have a wonderful, amazing team of volunteer sous chefs that support those visiting chefs. What is the number one question that you get asked about volunteering?
The number one question is, how do I volunteer at the Warrior Retreat? To which I respond, well, there's a place here for everyone. We just have to figure out what works best for you, your personality, your interests, your schedule. We have weekly opportunities, we have monthly opportunities, we have events, and we have yearly opportunities, and then we have custom opportunities. So our weekly opportunities are on Wednesdays and Thursdays, where we have the grounds team, administration, gardening, house prep, people come. On Thursdays, we have maintenance, staging, and guest day coordinators come. Most all of the volunteering on site happens Wednesdays and Thursdays. Those are our turnover days. We hit the reset button and get the retreat ready for the next set of guests. For monthly, volunteering, we have Beautification Day, which is one Saturday per month between March and November, where the community can come out and they can volunteer from 9 to noon, helping with different projects here, such as yard work, painting, raking, trimming bushes, things of that nature.
And with beautification days, let's explain a little bit about what they
Sure.
are. So our operations tempo here at the retreat is we do 3 guest days in a row and then we take a week off. And during that week off is when we have that Saturday morning beautification day. Now, those days vary, so I don't want people to think it's the first Saturday of every month or anything like that. So the beautification days will vary. We have a sign-up genius through our webpage where the community can go and sign up and just come out and do those things that you had talked about. Now, I do know that sometimes the sign-up genius fills up because a lot of people want to help us, which is fantastic. And then in that case, we don't want people to turn away. What's the best thing to do if they get there and the sign-up genius is full?
If the sign up genius is full, you can call the retreat or you can email me at volunteer@willingwarriors.org. And I would be more than happy to talk with you about the opportunity, let you know the schedule. Basically, we are thrilled to have you come out. The more, the merrier.
Yeah. We can pretty much always find something for you to do. And very often it's pulling weeds because this is just a giant weed farm.
It
in the
is
summer.
not.
They're everywhere. So if we can find something for you to do, that's great. And we have a volunteer or a beautification day tomorrow, which it's a little late to sign up for that, but I believe we have over 100 people for that.
115 after about 35 canceled due to different plans.
Right. Yeah. Probably signed up and then, it's Memorial Day weekend. We're going out of town. Okay, I get that. So why don't we talk a little bit about some of the key volunteer opportunities and really what that is? I think it's so important when you're dealing with volunteers to set expectations, to say, okay, if you want to be a guest stay coordinator, this is what it takes to be a guest stay coordinator, and this is how much time is required. And, if that's not something that you think is for you, well, we probably have something else. But grounds, for instance, that's huge because the place just looks amazing. They do an unbelievable job led by our retired Air Force Colonel Bill Chester, but his team does a fantastic job. But if somebody wanted to be on the grounds and, I don't know, love to mow the lawn, what's the grounds team all about?
Well, the grounds team takes care of, we have 37 acres here, 21 are wooded, and we have 2 houses on the property, so there's quite a bit of mowing. We have 4 Skag mowers, and it takes about 5 or 6 hours with 4 mowers.
Yeah.
Mowing constantly to get everything mowed weekly. So we're always looking for people to help with lawn mowing, edging,
Yeah.
trimming bushes,
Right.
willing to help in the gardens.
And then we have 2 gardens on property. We have the Serenity Garden, which Phil, our amazing volunteer, that's his project. And he, I guess the right word is manages the Serenity Garden. And so he's open to help too if you like to garden and, especially in the spring and in the fall, getting it ready and then getting it ready for winter. But it's got a nice water feature and it's really pretty. And then Patty, who is our master gardener, she manages the vegetable garden, and I'm sure she could use some help out there.
Absolutely. The garden opportunity is on Wednesday from 9 a.m. to about 12 o'clock or so.
Yeah.
The morning is the best when it's a little bit cooler.
Yeah. And it's a really great garden. It's huge. It's got a lot in it, like corn and strawberries and carrots and potatoes, and she has it set up like Veggie Tales, which is kind of cool for the kids. I don't know that much about Veggie Tales, but apparently there's a thing on TV, Veggie Tales. But so we have grounds, and then staging. That is another really important volunteer group because they're the ones that get the retreat ready for the next family.
Absolutely. The house prep and staging teams work hand in hand to make sure that both houses are completely ready for the next guest stays. They come in, they make sure the beds are stripped down, they're sprayed with Lysol, everything's disinfected, and then they remake the beds, and they double check that all the toiletries are ready to go in each bedroom, and the kitchen is restocked with certain supplies. They make sure that the TVs work, there's enough lights, all the light bulbs are on. They make sure nothing is broken, nothing needs repairing. It actually takes ideally 8 volunteers at the Lang House and 4 at PenFed each week.
Right. And the good news there is that the Hampton Inn in Manassas, which is a Hilton property, God bless them, they do all the laundry for us. We pack it up, and we have a volunteer take it over to them. All the sheets, the towels, the pillowcases, all that, and they wash it, dry it, fold it, give it back to us. And so you don't have to come and do laundry. I know how everybody loves to do that, but we have some laundry to do here.
Yeah, slight modification, Larry. They do all our whites and creams, which we are extremely appreciative of.
Yeah.
Very appreciative.
Well, that's all the sheets and everything. Yeah.
We wash the colored items here, such as the quilts and the colored pillowcases and the kitchen towels.
But I remember a time when we didn't have that, and people were taking laundry and sheets and things home. Because when you have a house with 5 bedrooms each, and it's full, it was, 25 or so man hours just to get all that laundry done. So we are very appreciative of them. And then one of the things that I really like to see when staging is done is the whole kitchen counter is just full of games and gifts and blankets and things for each member of the family. And so that's pretty awesome. The Warriors just are shocked when they come in and see that counter full.
And that is due to some of our silent volunteers that you don't see during the week, but they are definitely wonderful volunteers, and they contribute. We have 5 different quilting guilds: ExxonMobil, a Community of Quilters, Haymarket Quilters Unlimited, Stonehouse Quilt Guild, and Jacob's Hands. They donate beautiful quilts to be given to the warrior families. People donate blankets that we give out at Christmas time to soldier recovery units and to different warriors and their families there at Walter Reed Hospital and also at Fort Belvoir. People sew for us. We have a group that donates s'mores kits so the families can have a nice fire in the backyard.
That's the
Young Men's Service
Young
League.
Men's Service League of South Loud. Yeah.
Yep. People donate plants, mulch, dirt. We have Eagle Scout projects out here.
Yeah, a lot.
Elementary schools that do toy donations. So we have toys for the children. We have neighborhoods who collect candy and donate that to us so we can give that out as well, especially at Christmas time. We love to bring it to the soldier recovery units and give the candy out with the blankets. And if we have gift cards, we'll give out gift cards and bring food as well.
Yeah.
And then some people, they donate silently through our Amazon wish list, which we have in our newsletter, monthly newsletter. And some people like to make things for us. We have one lady who makes these plastic canvas stitching crosses and pen holders, and she wants those to go to warriors as well with little custom cards. Another person makes floral designs when it's time for the gala. They are happy to help us with floral needs. We also have activity providers that from time to time, we have them out for cookouts as well to thank them. But most of the time, we don't see them at the retreat, but they provide wonderful activities so that the warrior families can go out. They can go swimming, they can go to an equestrian area and enjoy horses, and that can provide some healing for them, helicopter rides and things of that nature.
Yeah, we have about 25 on-site, off-site activities total. So massage therapists that come here. We have the photographers that come and take pictures of the family, which is, a lot of families don't have that group family pictures, and we want them to have good memories of their time here with the family, because we know that many of these warriors are going back into that rat race of 2 to 3 medical appointments a day just running around, and when it starts to take its toll on them, we like them to have that memory of that fun, good time while they were here. So the photographers play a really important role, and if you're a professional photographer out there, we'd love to have you volunteer here, for sure.
I can tell you what we need more of. We could really use some more people to help with our indoor maintenance. Sometimes it's just changing light bulbs or hanging up some things for us, but sometimes it's repairing. So maintenance help would be appreciated either on Wednesdays or Thursdays would be great. But we could also use some more guest day coordinators.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. So talk a little bit about guest day coordinators. It's really the only position here at the retreat that you can't just volunteer for and go into that position automatically.
Yeah, guest day coordinators are the liaison between the warrior and the retreat. So they help coordinate the stay ahead of time. They create an itinerary. They look at the application, and they do their best to accommodate the request of the warrior to do certain activities. And they make sure that there's a photographer scheduled. They make sure that there's a visiting chef coming and that the dinner's coordinated. They help bring it all together. And in order to do that and to interact directly with the warrior, they have to have more information about the retreat and how it works. And that takes time.
Yeah.
So we encourage people to volunteer in another area first so they can learn some foundational things about the retreat and then pivot over to the guest day coordinator position.
I would think that probably the area where they would gain the most valuable expertise when they're thinking about being a guest day coordinator would probably be in the staging area, as opposed to, say, mowing the lawn or something like that. But the main thing is to be at the retreat as a volunteer, interact with the staff, the other volunteers, learn the history. If you want to know about how the Warrior Retreat came to be, our very first episode is in conversation with John and Shirley Dominic, our founders. And our second episode was conversation with our executive director, Sarah Ford, and our director of operations, Diane Polk. So you get a very good understanding of how we came to be and what the day-to-day operations are really like here and what it takes to offer this on behalf of the community. But that's the only position that requires some experience here at the retreat prior to getting into that. Now, if you think you'd like to be a guest day coordinator, by all means come and volunteer right away, because we need guest stay coordinators desperately. Pre-COVID, we were in the 13 or 14 guest stay coordinators. COVID hit, a lot of our guest stay coordinators were retired, and they were in what was essentially a high-risk age group, and they didn't come anymore, and which is understandable. And so now it's dropped off. We really only have 4 or 5, and myself and Diane fill in where we need to, but we can definitely use some more guest stay coordinators. And really, that's one of the most rewarding positions, because you interact directly with the family. You get to know them. The warrior and their family become part of our family. And it's probably the most work, though, because you're working with the family for weeks, sometime a month out, coordinating their itinerary, their schedule while they're here. Sometimes you work with the warrior for a couple of times and then find out they don't really remember anything because of the traumatic brain injury, and the whole thing shifts over to the spouse to get things lined up, which is always fun the first time a guest day coordinator experiences that. And go, I talked to him yesterday, and then when I called today, it's like we never spoke. I said, well, that's traumatic brain injury you're experiencing there. So it's a good bit of work, but it's very rewarding, and we certainly can use some more volunteers. Now, that's the day-to-day operations. Then we look at Beautification Day, but then there's also events. And our events, which are a lot of fun, we fundraise through some of them, but they're huge and they require a lot of volunteers. The next one coming up is our Vets for Vets.
Saturday, July 15th, our Vets for Vets show will be here from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Right, and right here on the property. So we'll, last year we had 120 cars, I think, quite a few. Most of them Corvettes, so it was quite a show. But we offer tours of the retreat too. So if you're thinking about volunteering, you're not sure, you want to come check us out, that would be a good time to do it. But how many volunteers do you think we need or use for an event like that?
Well, we have a range. Last year, when I totaled everyone up, it came to about 100. 100.
And so you're looking at an event with 100 volunteers. You're almost looking at 1,000 to 1,200 volunteer hours required to pull off an event. It's something that we track now because Faith likes to track things like that. And which is really good. It's very interesting because you don't realize how much work it takes. Not only the day of the event, which is Saturday, but Friday, just setting up for it. So we have volunteers here needed to set up tents and tables and chairs and move the grills around because we feed everybody. So it's a couple of days of work. And for me, I feel the most important work is done after it's over. Putting everything away, because that sometimes is the hardest time to get volunteers. People have been here all day and they're ready to go home. And we don't want to, when I say we, I mean me, get stuck putting stuff away till 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night.
Well, we were all done by 4 p.m. last year.
Yeah.
We had great volunteers and lots of help, so no complaints.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be great.
And then we have the Warrior Ride, the bicycle ride.
Yep.
In September 9th. And that's a great opportunity to get out there. There's 4 different ride options.
Right. And that is not at the retreat. So we won't have tours or anything like that, but that's held off-site.
At the Farm Brewery.
At the Farm Brewery here in Haymarket. But it's still an amazing time, and it requires a lot of volunteers because it is an extremely well-run event. We've been doing it 6 years, I think, and we have not only volunteers who volunteer for the retreat, but then we have organizations and groups that provide services for us during that. I can think of all the volunteer fire departments because we have a medical tent at the brewery, but then we have an ambulance and medical people at each of the rest stops. We have our amazing ham radio operators that are stationed along the route and report to our organizing team the status of the riders and where they're at, how many, and that kind of thing. We don't want to leave anybody out there. Or if somebody needs some help, we can easily get it to them medically or their equipment breaks down. Then we have the bike shop, which is there with a repair facility right on
A1
site.
Cycling.
Yeah, A1 Cycling. And then we have the NAM Nights that are there, and they ride road guard for riders. So there'll be groups of bike riders who will have motorcycle escort behind them so the cars don't come up on them and crowd them or bother them. And they have a great time. And the NAM Knights is a local motorcycle club, veterans and law enforcement that's been with us since the very beginning. They volunteer for everything. And even when they just attend events, these guys hang out and help us clean up and really look for ways to help us. Not to mention, they're extremely generous. They routinely give us $50 gift cards for the families to grocery shop at Giant. So they'll come for an event and pull us off to the side and say, hey, we'd like to give you this. And they give us $1,000 or $1,500 worth of gift cards. They're really, really a great organization. And it makes the ride really special. I think all those different volunteers and people I've spoken to say it's one of the best rides that they do over the summer. So
It's very well coordinated. We have lots of volunteers. We have a volunteer tent, and they get T-shirts for volunteering, and they get a free lunch from Mission Barbecue,
yeah,
and everybody has fun.
yeah, it is really a good time, actually. And Mission Barbecue is not bad either.
And we can't forget the gala.
Yes, and that's a little bit different. We don't need the level of volunteers that we have for the ride, but we do need people to help set it up and to maybe transport some things. And so there's definitely volunteer opportunities with the gala for sure.
Absolutely.
There's also volunteer opportunities. I want to just talk for a bit about the corporate groups that come. And we see them maybe once or twice a year. Some we see more. And tell us just a little bit about the kind of projects, who comes out, the kind of projects that they do.
Well, we are definitely blessed to have some great businesses come out. PenFed Foundation has come out recently, and they do some cleaning and they do mulch work. They've done painting for us. Home Depot has come out, and they have helped fix some windows of ours. And they have they're going to be building a barn for us.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Amazon Web Services in Communities has come out, and they've done projects. Novak has come out, Deloitte, Bay, church groups. Lots of church groups have come out, and sometimes they're repairing things, and sometimes they're building new things. I know that Deloitte's about to come out, and they're going to be scraping and sanding and repainting a gazebo and different wood sheds. And they're going to be demoing a big playground that needs to come down.
Yeah.
And hauling that away for us.
Okay. Two things that I wanted to mention there. One is just for those listeners who are here in the Northern Virginia area, the one company that Faith referred to as Bay is actually BAE. So nobody that I know calls it Bay.
What do you call it?
BAE. It's always BAE. Okay. The other is we've recently partnered with the I-66 Express Lanes team, and these guys are great. One of the reasons we love them is that they bring heavy equipment out here, and we needed some mulch moved around, and they brought the front loaders and the tractors and the equipment and just really made quick work of it. And they've been out a couple of times. We had some nasty rose bushes that were diseased and needed to come out, and their equipment just made very quick work of that. It was really, that's the kind of support that we need, is those situations where We just don't have the equipment for it, you know, and they can just make quick work of it, and they have a good time. And many of them were veterans, the guys who came out from the I-66 Express group. But the corporate groups really do support us. Home Depot especially. They've been out here, and they've brought us all sorts of tools, all sorts of buckets and coolers and
Big ladder.
yeah, big ladder, power washer. They donated to us, and then now they're going to be working to build here very shortly a new barn for us to house our lawnmowers. Right now, they're in what we call the pole barn, which is a metal frame structure with some sort of tarp stuff over it that's really gnarly looking, and it's a miracle it hasn't fallen down. But it's just in the nick of time. They're really coming to our rescue with a customized barn that's worth about $25,000. So we're very excited to get that. Then there's the service projects, the Scout projects. We have a lot of Boy Scout, Girl Scout, and Eagle Scout projects.
We absolutely do. We've had over 60 projects here on the ground since it opened. And so we have trails through the woods. We have playground equipment. We have, they put in a gaga court. They put in a half basketball court. They have built numerous benches for us.
Wood sheds, which are really important because we have 4 fire pits on the property, one behind each house and 2 down in the woods. And the ones behind the houses get used nonstop. The one here behind the Lang house, which is our original oldest house, we've replaced 2 times, and it needs to be repaired a 3rd time because they just so much use. And having all that wood very close to the house, it's really a godsend to have those sheds there. We also partner with Team Rubicon, and their people will come out and train on chainsaws and cut up the wood for us. And we also received a gift of a wood splitter, which we put a lot of kids on. And
No, we don't.
no, it's always an adult that works the wood splitter. But yeah, that's really really some great Eagle Scout projects. So if you do have an Eagle Scout in the area and they're thinking about doing a project, now I will say we're really hard on them. In the early days, when it came to some of the Eagle Scout projects, Eagle Scout would say, "I'd like to do this," and we go, "Oh yeah, okay, go ahead over there and do it." And we'd end up with stuff that's like, "Ooh, that's not what we had in mind," but it's too late. So we've learned to supervise the projects and to be demanding in the sense of this is what we want. This is exactly what we want, and we want them to make a project to describe exactly what they're going to do for us, and then they have to account for everything in the project. So if they're building something, we need to know the type of wood, how much it was, where they got it, nails, glue, paint, whatever it is. They need to outline everything used in the project. They need to then develop a 3-year maintenance plan for it, as well as they need to fund that maintenance plan, because we have been stuck with some things that over time have cost us money to keep up, or they haven't been kept up, and then they had to be taken down. So we are, hard on them in that sense, but in the end, we get some amazing stuff like the kids' playhouse down there, and the flagpoles out front, and the Gaga ball court, and things like that. So the families love that stuff, and it really, really helps us here at the retreat. What do you think is the most important thing for volunteers to know about coming to the retreat? What makes it so special here?
I would say volunteers are the heart of the retreat. They're the lifeblood of our organization. We absolutely could not do what we do without them. We have 7 people on staff, 6 are part-time, 1 full-time, and we have hundreds of volunteers who help, 50 who are probably the core volunteers that come every week. But all volunteers are appreciated and helpful in different ways, whether people can come once a month or they can come just to one event or 2 events. We have one gal who just helps at Christmas, and she is amazing. She coordinates all the Christmas decorations, and she is our Christmas angel.
Yeah. Bakers on call who do all, they're baking at home, but then drop off that dessert. So the warrior gets his favorite dessert, his or her favorite dessert. When they check in, it's on the counter waiting for them. We're lucky here as staff and the guest stay coordinators who work directly with the family, get that interaction with the warrior and the family. Most of the volunteers don't, but yet they still come and they still put in amazing time and effort to make the retreat just look beautiful.
And that's where there's a responsibility on the staff to communicate how much the warriors appreciated their stay, what was impactful for them. It's very important that we relay those messages, and sometimes we share little bits of information if they really like something or they really appreciate how clean everything was. We definitely get that information back to the volunteers who help directly with that project, because we want them to know they are making a difference in somebody's life.
Yeah, for sure. This is really a special place, and from the family standpoint, they really can't believe that they're here and they get this. We're very we try to convey to the warriors what it takes to put on a guest stay, the number of hours, the people behind the scenes that they don't see either. It's not like a hotel. Everything is done, like you say, by volunteers. And so the warriors do appreciate that there's so many people making their stay special. And the letters that they write to us and to the guest stay sponsor convey that. They really are thankful. But I think, what's the best way for somebody to get in touch with you if they want to volunteer?
They can email me, volunteer@willingwarriors.org.
And I think for me, I started as a volunteer 11 years ago. We get more out of it than we give. That's for sure. Our part-time staff works full-time. and then some.
Just because we care.
Yeah.
We don't have to. We choose to put in extra time because we care.
Yeah, and it's very rewarding. And if you're thinking about it and you're not sure, reach out to Faith. We can set up a tour for you to come out and visit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and see what we're all about, and try it out. You don't have to make a 2 or 3 year commitment. It's whatever your time and your lifestyle and what you've got going will allow. And we do have some volunteers that come and they volunteer, and then they do a job change, or they have a baby or something, and then maybe come back. I'm thinking of Holly, who started with us, and she was a director of operations, and her and I put together a lot of the policies and the guest stay coordinator and everything. And then she left, and she just graduated from her massage therapy school, and she'll be returning to us.
That's
as
fantastic.
a massage therapist. So we will always find a place for you. I think of, we got a call one time prior to Faith being here from a very nice lady who said, "I'd really like to help out at the Warrior Retreat, but I work during the week, and then on the weekends we're usually with our grandchildren and everything. And Heidi was talking to her. I'm not really too sure when you're going to have the time. And she said, well, we don't live too far from the retreat. I work from home, and we have a really nice pool, and the family would be more than happy to come over and swim. And that turned into an offsite for us that we call Bonnie's Private Pool. And Bonnie is just as sweet as can be. She welcomes the warriors over there, has some towels and everything ready, and it's a mile and a half from the retreat, and they go over, and that's her way of volunteering. And
it's
boy,
beautiful.
do the families really appreciate that in the middle of the summer to be able to swim for a couple of hours. So we have a spot for you if you want to volunteer. We will find a way for you to come out and give back to these wounded warriors and their families that are so deserving and so appreciative. So reach out to Faith at volunteer.willingwarriors or at willingwarriors.org. That's all we have time for this week. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Larry.
Letting everybody know about volunteering at the retreat. And we appreciate everyone listening, and we'll have another episode next week. If you have any questions or suggestions or any kind of feedback, you can reach me at podcast@willingwarriors.org. So like and subscribe, and thanks for listening.
The Welcome Home podcast is brought to you by Willing Warriors, a nonprofit organization serving active duty service members and veterans since 2012. To learn more, please visit our webpage at willingwarriors.org.